I remember the first time it happened. As a kid, I grew up with such joy and spontaneity. Everything was an opportunity. The older I got, the more ideas I had. And the more ideas I had, the more people made fun of me. I slowly started to critique my ideas based on what I thought others would like. And the result of that was I slowly started to hide. And as I got older, I found myself drawn to new experiences. When I was 18, I decided to leave home and travel the world. It was in these moments I discovered the power of story, how it can aid and inspire others. I felt a pull to use these stories in a way that left people feeling inspired. But I was still hiding, afraid to be looked at as weird again. Which leads us to October 2023. I had just received an email, which read, "Dear Andrew, we are writing to inform you that we have completely fallen in love with your work. You produce inspiring work that we feel is so needed. We would love for you to produce a project for us to inspire others. Would you like to take on this opportunity?" I thought about it for a while. I was excited, yet I was also hesitant. I responded, telling them I would do it. I knew I had ideas, but I had never done anything like this before, so I was nervous. But I started thinking, and nothing came. Hours turned into days and days into weeks, and still nothing. I always have ideas, and here I was being asked to come up with something, and I was stuck. I had to figure out what was going on. I decided that if I wanted to move forward, I'd have to look backwards. A few years ago, I went to New York to connect with a few artists. The first artist I met with was Taya, a ceramicist based out of New York. We wanted to create a video that documented what it's like to do art in such a busy city, how she gets inspired, how she finds peace, and what her days look like. During our time filming, we talked about the creative process and the battle in creating true and authentic work, but at the cost of being vulnerable. She shared with me her insecurities and how they had a control over her for a while. But when she finally embraced them and was honest with herself, her art reflected that. It became more authentic and more pure. Which leads us to Joey, a musician based out of California, visiting New York in hopes to be re-inspired. He expressed that the creative process had led him down a road of realizing that he had been hiding, not writing lyrics that were honest, but writing in a way that he felt his audience would be more accepting of. During his time in New York, he decided to ask himself what he wanted to make and simply go for it. He embraced the inner voice telling him he wasn't good enough or that he wasn't capable, and he wrote about that very thing. Instead of hiding behind the fear, he exposed it through his art.
They didn't like my visionary ideas.
It was too complicated for them to follow you?
Yeah.
Fais chier, quoi.
Which takes us to the summer of 2023. I went to Europe to figure out why I was feeling so dry. The months leading up to this trip, my creativity had taken a hit. I had started producing out of acceptance opposed to authenticity. During my trip, I reflected on my time with Joey and Taya, and I realized that I too was hiding, not just creatively, but in multiple areas of my life. I was playing it safe, doing what I thought I should do. I realized my insecurities were making choices for me, where I should work, what I should do, who I should be around, all in the name of being accepted. The idea of being weird in other people's eyes had held me down and choked the life out of all of my endeavors. And it wasn't just me who was being impacted, it was those around me. And that's when I realized I had just come up with my next idea. To create something memorable, I knew I'd have to get vulnerable. And that's when I realized something about myself. I view my insecurities as reasons I can't do something, when in reality, they're the very thing that sets me apart. You see, as a filmmaker, I'm insecure about, well, pretty much everything. You see, I don't do things correctly. I'll show you what I mean. I don't really keep things organized. I don't have the best gear. My studio's kind of just a makeshift of things laying around, but more importantly, my voice. I don't like it. I never really have. And I feel like the stories and the stuff I say don't ever really make sense. You see, I look at artists like Van Gogh and Basquiat, and for a while, they were considered weird and very different. And honestly, it shows in their work. But they embraced that quality, and it allowed them to create stuff that will last generations. And honestly, I found myself trying to change the way I speak or narrate so that it sounds more normal. But I honestly don't even know what that means. I found that we're all trying to fit in, and by doing so, we're slowly killing our gifts that we can share with the world. You see, my videos are different because of the way I share. Because I get vulnerable and I create atmospheres that create emotional responses. And honestly, maybe not everyone will like it, but someone will. And they'll be glad I embrace those insecurities because it'll give them the strength to embrace theirs. Perfect. So I'll just make a video about that and then send it, and hopefully it will inspire others. First, I'm gonna introduce something I struggle with that I'm also insecure about. And after that, I'll give some backstory so the audience can feel like they know me. From there, we'll introduce a challenge, something I need to do that my insecurities are holding me back from accomplishing. I'll also add in other characters to present that we all struggle with something and that we're not alone in our battles. Then I'll share my process in overcoming my challenges. And for the final scene, I'll walk into frame with a red balloon. And I'll mention how we often view our insecurities as something that sticks out for everyone to see, when in reality, we're the only one that really notices. And after that, we'll have a completed video.
Pick up your trash.
You know, I had completely finished the video and then I was about to export it, and I had this idea to kind of share something about this whole idea of embracing your insecurity. I know videos like this are inspirational, and you can see other YouTube videos like this and think like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make that video, or I'm gonna go to that city, or I'm gonna go do that thing that I'm afraid of. And the reality is it's still very much hard, and I don't want to discredit that. And I don't want to make it seem like it's not hard, because it is. And I don't know if it gets easy, you know? For me, it hasn't gotten easy. It's still hard to make videos like this and not feel a little weird, a little insecure. But I know when I embrace that insecurity, the most authentic ideas and vision come to life. Which I talked about in the video. But one thing I did want to express as well is that, yeah, it does take time. I've wanted to do YouTube videos like this for 3 years. It took me 3 years to finally get to that point of making videos. And for the first like 6 months of my YouTube career journey, I was making videos about like business and what I thought people would like. And I just remember thinking like, why am I doing this? This is so boring. This is so dumb. And I asked myself, I said, if I was given $10,000 to make a video, what would I make it about? And I was like, oh, I kind of want to make a video about how I'm feeling. And I was insecure about that because essentially I was going to let strangers into like my process of like my life. And that was really scary. And I remember I did it, and I didn't get like a lot of views and I didn't get a lot of comments, but the ones I did get were just so encouraging. Like they were essentially telling me how they've been wanting to do something and they've been feeling the same way. And the reality was that them watching me in whatever capacity I was sharing allowed them the strength to actually go for it. I get that it's still hard and it might take a little bit of time to actually go for it and embrace it, but I think it's worth it. Even if you fail again and again and again, I think it's worth it, whatever it is. And statistically with YouTube videos, only about 30% of people watch the whole video. This video has been kind of all over the place. So I would assume that there's only about 20% of the people that have watched this video that are hearing what I'm saying right now. And if you're one of those 20%, I would love for you to leave a comment expressing maybe what that thing is and how you're going to accomplish it and what it looks like. So
this city has a speed like humans have veins. Always pulsing, constantly flowing, endlessly moving. The energy of the city keeps me awake. This city empowers me to continue flowing with the strong stream of life. Creativity is simply an extension of who I am, pouring out from my heart and into the hearts around mine, making this a wonderful city to come into my own and create a light that can shine bright. Possibly even inspire small change in another person's life, encouraging them to become the most authentic versions of themselves. Play is my teacher, my guide to presence. Pottery has a way of teaching us how to loosen, how to forgive with a little more ease. It shows us how beautiful uncertainty can be, how to lean into the moment when it doesn't go as planned, guiding us to put on the lens of gratitude for life. There is a lot to learn about yourself. Where there are dark clouds, there is a need for stillness to bring us back to self. A reminder of the inner child I carry with me forever and letting her come out, showing her it's okay to be messy and walk down the unknown path with a heart full because I am enough.